Have you ever noticed something strange going on in the background of Bluey? Well, you might be focused on this, or this, or this. Or maybe you could be missing something like this. Here are things you missed from Bluey. Let's start small. In Curry Quest, there's a moment where Bluey and Chili are sitting together knitting something. At first, this seems like a background detail, but it actually matters later. While Bandit is away on a 6-week trip, Bluey even shows him their project over a video call. Then, when Bandit finally comes home, Bluey shows up at the airport wearing the same scarf she's been knitting with Chili earlier in the episode. That means the characters actually keep living their lives between moments. They keep working on things, growing, and finishing the stuff we only see glimpses of. And for whatever reason, Bluey is apparently good at crochet. Speaking of details you barely catch, Granny Mobile hides a pretty cool one. When Muffin tries to sell her scooter, an old pug lady shows up to buy it for $100. And if you pause on that shot, the $100 note she's holding is literally based on the real Australian bill. Same green color and the same orange fade down the middle, just with dogs instead of people. And it doesn't stop there. The cash in Bluey is all modded after real Australian currency. In the episode market, Bluey's $5 note looks identical to the real one. Even the $10 bill has the same blue tone and hat design as Australia's actual $10 note. And one of my favorite recurring details is the Healer family's fridge. If you pay attention across episodes, the stickers and drawings on the fridge door constantly change. Sometimes there's a new drawing, other times something's been moved or replaced. This fridge actually gives us way more than you'd think. Do you remember when Grandpa Bob went missing for multiple seasons and everybody had assumed the worst? Well, the answer to where he was could be found all along on the fridge. Crazy, right? Now, this next one's actually one of the biggest signs that time does pass in Bluey's world. Socks. When the show first started, Socks obviously crawled around on the ground like a puppy, because she was. But by later seasons, she started walking upright just like Bluey and Bingo. And even another hidden detail about Socks, well, maybe this one's not hidden, but a lot of people don't realize this. If you look at her hands and feet, she's got these lighter blue sections that look like socks, so hence her name is Socks. Another subtle one is how often the healers wear sunscreen and hats in outdoor scenes. It's never pointed out, but you'll notice Chili putting on hats for the girls or Bandit covered in sunscreen when they're outside. It's one of those tiny life lesson details Bluey slips in naturally. It's all about teaching sun safety without ever saying a word. And if you have ever stepped foot in Australia, you'll know that sunscreen is absolutely necessary. And another crazy one showing off some self-awareness in the show is something some people have definitely noticed already. It shows a real-world Bluey landmark. When Bobo is driving along a road modeled after Stafford Road, an electrical box can be seen painted with Bluey and Bingo, and this electrical box also exists in real life. Speaking of design changes, Mackenzie's mum quietly got one too. In early season 1, she only had a brown spot on one side of her face. By the later seasons, she's got spots on both. It's not a big thing at all, but it shows how much attention to detail the team puts in. They're always refining little background characters most people barely think about. Or maybe it could just be an animation mistake, but it's best not to think about that. Now, if you've made it this far already, you might as well subscribe. It would mean the world to me, and some of these next details are honestly insane. Now, believe it or not, characters in Bluey actually matter. Like in Market, we meet the ponies Buttermilk and Biscuits. You might have thought they were just cute filler, but they come back a few times. Once in Pass the Parcel as a flashback, and again in Curry Quest in the background of the school. It's always around public events, markets, or fairs. It's the kind of consistency that makes the Bluey world feel alive. Characters don't just vanish after one episode. But something even crazier. In the final scene of the episode Surprise, when the camera pans across the neighborhood, you can see skyscrapers, delivery drones, and a futuristic skyline that's way more advanced than anything we've seen before. It's a glimpse of how much the Bluey world has evolved by the time Bluey's an adult. It's showing us that the world that Bluey lives in has grown with her. And does anybody else remember that huge theory everybody had before the episode Surprise came out? Well, if you haven't, the theory was that Chili might have been pregnant, and Bluey and Bingo were gonna get a new sibling. However, the episode Surprise officially killed that one. In the photo frames from the episode, we see the entire Healer family, but it's just the 4 of them. No new baby, no extra sibling. And that's the show's way of confirming the Healer family is staying exactly as it is. Another one that'll break your brain a bit, in Sleepy Time, when Bingo's dreaming in space, the star patterns around her are actually shaped like constellations from real-world astronomy charts, not random twinkles. There's the Southern Cross, Orion's Belt, and even Canis Major, the dog constellation. It's such a sneaky touch, but it tells you exactly where they live. The Southern Hemisphere, Australia. That is some real attention to detail, and no, I didn't know that off the top of my chest, someone else told me. But it's cool to know something like that is just hiding in plain sight. And this wasn't the only episode where we see something like that. Bluey's full of these tiny visual metaphors that tie everything together. Moments that seem simple, but end up saying a lot about who these characters are and how much they've changed. Like in Duck Cake, when Bandit's struggling to make a cake. The entire episode isn't really about baking, it's about effort, doing something purely to make someone else happy. That's Bluey in a nutshell. Every episode is playful on the surface, but quietly saying something real underneath. Even in throwaway gags, there's meaning baked in. Then you've got The Creek. On paper, it's just a quiet little walk, but the background design changes as they move deeper in. The trees get taller, the lighting shifts, and even the sound design gets softer, more open. It's subtle, but it mirrors Bluey's own mindset changing as she starts to see the beauty in slowing down. That's what makes the show special. It doesn't have to tell you the lesson, it just has to let you feel it. And I know we've already covered quite a few, but trust me, there's more. So let's go. After all, some of the smallest details in Bluey are honestly so good you just can't miss them. First off, this one may be tiny, but it's actually really sweet. If you've ever looked closely at Bluey and Bingo's bed, you'll notice Bluey has a big capital B carved into it, while Bingo's has a little lowercase b. It's a simple thing, but it really shows who the big sister is and who's the smaller one. Like, come on, that is adorable. But this next one is actually insane. Everyone remembers the episode where Bluey meets Jean-Luc, right? It's one of the most wholesome episodes ever, but here's something you probably didn't know. If you watch the episode Camping in French, the entire thing flips. In the normal version, Jean-Luc speaks French and Bluey speaks English. But in the French version of the show, Jean-Luc speaks English and Bluey speaks French. They literally swap the languages. It's such a cool way to make the episode hit the same way for French-speaking kids too. Here's one about Rusty that a lot of people don't realize. Originally, Rusty was actually meant to be the main character of Bluey. That's why his design is almost identical to Bluey's with some color changes. Because at one point, he was supposed to be her. Rusty is a red kelpie, which is an Australian breed that always has a marking on his chest. And the animators went crazy with this detail. Rusty's got a diamond shape, his little sister has a circle, and his older brother has a downward arrow. His mum's got a lightning bolt, and his dad's got a triangle. Every single one is unique, which is a wild attention to detail for a background family design. Okay, so this next one, we surely all know about the long dog and the tennis ball Easter egg. They're classics after all. But there's another one that almost nobody talks about, the pineapple. You can spot this logo popping up in tons of episodes. It's not random either. That pineapple is actually the logo of Ludo Studio, the team that makes Bluey. So every time you see one, that's basically them signing their work. Kinda like a hidden artist signature. But since we're on the topic of Long Dog, some of its appearances are straight up genius. Like, if we circle back to Sleepy Time, when Bingo's floating through space in her dream, there's a star constellation in the background, and if you connect the dots, it literally forms the shape of the Long Dog. That's such a clever way to hide it. And what's even better, in Double Babysitter, when Rad and Frisky are sitting on the balcony at night, you can actually see two long dogs up in the sky. It's the first time we've been able to see two together in the same shot. The long dogs found love too, I guess? Now this next one's about the episode Early Baby. In some versions of the episode, Bluey's little nurse hat has a red cross on it, but in other parts of the world, it's purple. That's because some countries don't allow the Red Cross in media. It's a whole regulation thing tied to the actual Red Cross organization, so they had to recolor it. It's not so much a random art choice as much as it is legal compliance. And here's another weird one. Did you know one episode of Bluey was actually banned for farts? Yeah, seriously. The episode Family Meeting, which is sometimes called Family Reunion in other places, got pulled from Disney Plus because of a fart joke. Disney thought it was inappropriate for kids, which, come on, it's Bluey. But after fans started spamming social media asking for it back and pointing out the other fart jokes were still on the platform, Disney eventually caved and re-added it on October 10th, 2022. This was a global victory for farts everywhere, I guess. Alright, well here's something you might not have noticed, but once you do, you really can't unsee it. In the early episodes of Bluey, whenever a character wore a helmet, their eyebrows were completely covered, but in later seasons, you can see the eyebrows poking out the top. This wasn't an animation mistake, they did it on purpose. The animators realized you can't read facial expressions without eyebrows, so they changed the rule to keep emotions clear. It's one of those invisible improvements that make the show feel more alive without anyone even noticing why. And finally, here's a detail that's kind of genius. Bandit and Chili's jobs. Bandit's an archaeologist and Chili works in airport security. You might think those jobs were chosen at random, but they weren't. It's a small nod to how dogs behave in real life. Dogs love digging up bones, which is why Bandit is an archaeologist. And dogs are literally used in airports to sniff out suspicious stuff, airport security. So even their jobs are subtle references to what real dogs do. It's such a neat full circle idea that just makes the show feel smarter the more you think about it. And if you've ever thought, surely there are no more details left to find, well, just wait, because for every fridge sticker and cash design, there's always another background joke, another pop, another hidden emotional beat the animators quietly slid in. And that's what I love about Bluey. It's made with the same kind of love and attention that its own characters give each other. So yeah, next time you're watching and you think you've seen everything, I'd like you to just take a closer look for a moment, because somewhere in the background there could be another moment I missed. With that being said, if you enjoyed the video, comment oranges and I'll give it a heart.